Again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being patient. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Sherry Carpenter. I'm the executive director for Keep Florida Beautiful. Uh, just a few housekeeping and things that have been going on. Thank you to everyone who was able to attend the Keep America Beautiful conference. That was like 2 weeks ago now. Feels like it was just yesterday or maybe a lifetime ago at this point. But I just wanted to say thank you for that. As a reminder, I will be sending out a another email today about our regional meetings, but our regional meetings are next week. If you have not already called and confirmed with me, please do. You can also tell me right now in this meeting while we have like another minute. I'm happy to put you down for whichever one you're interested in joining, and I can add you. Does anyone want to tell me if they haven't already reserved? Mm-mm. No? Okay. Well, I will just wait. And then if anyone wants to email me or give me a call or text me later, that's fine too. And then, so regional meetings are next week. Kaylee and I will be going all over the state to meet with everyone and chat about just different things that are going on. And that'll be a really great opportunity, especially Kenneth, I saw. Thank you. Um, and Kenneth, I didn't have you down. I had your two of your coworkers. So are you as coming as well? Okay, great. I'll put you down. So please feel free to sign up if you are coming. Anyways, it's been enough time. I will go ahead and get us started. So today we have with us the Surfrider Foundation group. We have three people, in fact, with us. Oh, sorry. My Zoom is yelling at me. We have three people from the Surfrider Foundation. We have CJ O'Brien Weddle. We have Katie Bauman. And Evan, I'm really sorry. I may slaughter your last name, Evan Orellano. If you guys want to introduce yourselves and talk about the Surfrider Foundation, if you'd like, and then go ahead and get into the program. But today's program is Surfrider's Ocean Friendly Restaurant and Hotel Program. Madison and Rain with Keep Orlando Beautiful already work with them, and they have had really great success. And so I thought this would be another really wonderful opportunity for us to continue that conversation. So I will leave it to you guys.
Awesome. I'm gonna share my screen because
Great.
I have to send a request.
Yes.
There we go. Awesome. Can everyone see that?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Well, yeah, as Sherry was saying, today we'll be talking about mainly our ocean-friendly programs, but we have a few staff members at Surfrider that live in Florida, so we thought it was a great opportunity to talk about some other stuff and just have to meet some of the Florida team. So we'll get to all of that, and we would just really appreciate you giving us the space to chat and meet you all. So, with that, we'll introduce ourselves, the three people from Surfrider on this call. I'm CJ. I'm the Ocean Friendly Programs Manager. I live in Orlando, Florida, though, but I work for Surfrider as national staff on the Plastic Pollution Initiative, where I manage our ocean friendly restaurants and ocean friendly hotels programs. And I'll pass it to Evan.
Hey, Ollie, and thanks for having me. I'm Evan Oriana. I'm the Florida Regional Manager for the chapters. So I oversee our 12 chapters in the state and just help them with their programs and campaigns and just doing the great work in their areas.
And hello again. Thanks to you all. Happy to be here. I'm Katie Bauman. I am the Florida Policy Manager, so primarily focusing on the state policy level, and I'll talk a little bit about that during the presentation, but also working with our chapters on local policy campaigns and federal work where it overlaps. And I'm based up in Jacksonville.
Awesome. And so before we get into it, you might be familiar with Surfrider, but if not, our mission is dedicated to the protection and enjoyment of the world's ocean waves and beaches for all people through a powerful activist network. And we have different initiatives. I mentioned that I'm a part of the plastic pollution initiative, but we also have a few others where we focus on fighting for beach access, protecting our coast and climate, fighting for clean water and ocean protection. And we have a lot of victories, and we kind of define victories as policy victories and more every day. And then what I mean by that powerful activist network and our mission, we have over 80 chapters across the country. We have over 130 student clubs, which are in, college campuses or high school campuses. And we're just in a lot of different regions. We have members that get involved with programs, events, policy campaigns, and action alerts. And so it's just a really great network of folks to get involved with ocean conservation. And so I'll pass this slide over to Evan to talk a little bit about the chapters that we have in Florida specifically.
Yeah, thanks, CJ. So as I mentioned, we have 12 chapters in Florida. We do have one in Puerto Rico in our region as well. But our chapters in Florida pretty much cover the entirety of the East Coast. We have three on the Gulf and our Orlando chapter. And pretty much all of our chapters work within our mission, as CJ showed before, our five big mission focus areas. So they do a lot of things like fighting local ordinance, supporting good laws for change. A few of our chapters engage in our Blue Water Task Force program, which is our water monitoring for beach water testing, as well as advocating for coastal resilience and other responsible development. And then a lot of plastic pollution fighting. Our chapters engage in beach cleanups throughout the state. We've removed a few thousand pounds of plastic last year, which was an amazing feat for them. And really taking the data collected there and using it, whether we visit Tallahassee and do some legislative work, or even with local programs like our ocean friendly programs, with CJ is going to talk about next.
And then in addition to the programs, our beach cleanups, we also work on policy. So I'll pass it to Katie.
Yeah, as CJ mentioned, so we have a policy focus and objectives that we go for. These are our different victories, and among those five initiative areas, you saw prevent plastic pollution. So I'll just give a little background quickly on Florida and where our focus is in the policy world, because so much of this is moved forward by those ocean-friendly programs. We're able to build coalition support, partners from the business community, which is particularly important when then we're up in Tallahassee and talking with legislators. So, as a quick refresher, probably for most of you, in 2008, Florida preempted local governments from regulating single-use plastics in most situations. So, that 2008 law was focused primarily on plastic bags, but it did catch other things within that under the term auxiliary containers. Now, it also included later, it was expanded to include polystyrene, so styrofoam. And this state preemption is again telling the local government, you can't regulate in this area. And that can happen in a lot of different areas. Here, they were doing it in plastics regulation. So that does make work at the local level different than other places that don't have that preemption. And so, first, at the state level, we're supporting statewide legislative actions that would repeal that plastic preemption law. We've seen bills like that come forward. We support them and will continue to do so. This session, there is a bill in the Senate and in the House that would repeal the plastic preemption. Again, it is a long road in Florida, this kind of work, but we're happy to see it and continue to educate and raise awareness, and also public, right? Public support for this. And again, back to that business. So everything we're doing through that program work is helping us in this long road ahead. We also seek to reduce other sources of plastic pollution. So last year in particular, a victory alongside many partners was the ban on intentional balloon releases in Florida. And so that was a big effort there, and we'll always keep an eye out for other things we can be doing to be reducing single-use plastic production, distribution, and use. The counterpart to that is we're also opposing. We oppose where there would be expansions to that preemption or attempts to expand it. And that has also popped up over the last few years on the state level of trying to include more things in what local governments cannot regulate. And so that brings me over to the work on the local level. We advocate for local government action. Even within that state preemption, there are a few areas that the local government still can take action. And that is specifically in the local government purchasing. So, purchasing on county or city owned property, there are some restrictions that you can have on some single use plastics. And then the Skip the Stuff campaign or those ordinances, those also can work in Florida as long as you're specific about what the language and what you're excluding would be. And then there as well, a big part of this on the local level is pushing forward those good ordinances and also using it as this opportunity for education, awareness, encouraging local governments to start voluntary programs related to cutting back single-use plastics, all the while building, right, the support across the state to get state level action. So that's just a quick look at a few of the things we're focusing on and what we'll be doing in the coming year here in Florida.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. So that brings us now to the ocean-friendly programs part of the presentation. So the Ocean-Friendly Restaurants program is a voluntary program that recognizes and celebrates restaurants that have eliminated unnecessary single-use plastic and are making more sustainable choices for the ocean. And so the result of this is a community of restaurants that we can showcase as kind of examples of success to policymakers, to society. When you're going to these restaurants, you can see what it's like to use real utensils and real cups and things like that and not have a ton of disposable single-use plastic. And so, especially in a state like Florida where there's preemption and you can't pass as many bans on plastic items, it's really powerful to have these businesses join this program voluntarily and have those, impact metrics and those stories from those restaurants. And we have a ton of different restaurants in the program. We have breweries, food trucks, fine dining, um, coffee shops. So it's really cool to see the different businesses involved. And so, in order to be an ocean-friendly restaurant, a restaurant has to follow 7 mandatory criteria and then choose three out of an optional list of 9. So, I'll get to that one in the next slide. But I wanted to just break down what the mandatory criteria is that all restaurants have to follow. So, the first one is that only reusable foodware is used for on-site dining. So, like I mentioned, when you're sitting down, you're using those real utensils, real plates, real food serviceware, all of that. The second is that paper straws are only available upon request. We do allow straws that are made from naturally occurring materials, so like hay, reed, um, bamboo, things like that. At this time, we don't allow bioplastic straws in the program. And this aligns really well with the Skip the Stuff or even Skip the Straw campaigns, which we've seen some local cities enact in an ordinance. The next is that restaurants can't use plastic bags for takeout, so we ask that they use, paper bags or don't have bags at all. The next is that single-use utensils, straws, condiments, and other accessory items are only available upon request, which again aligns with the skip the stuff that Katie was talking about. The next is that no expanded polystyrene is used anywhere, so no takeout containers or clamshells, no cups or anything made out of styrofoam. The next one is no beverages are sold in plastic bottles. So, if you go to a restaurant or a deli or something, there's a tea place in Orlando where they have a fridge where you can kind of grab and go beverages. We ask that all the beverages are in glass or aluminum or carton instead of plastic bottles. And then finally, we ask that proper recycling practices are followed. This one, especially in Florida, we found to be tricky for certain businesses. So if a business is following all of the criteria and they like do not have access to recycling because of, things that are in place by the city or there's huge barriers, then we can work with them on that one. But we've heard that in Florida quite a lot. And then this is the optional criteria that I mentioned. So restaurants have to choose at least 3 from this list. Of course, if a restaurant follows all of the mandatory criteria and all of the optional criteria, then they're deemed a platinum level ocean-friendly restaurant. So they get like special recognition. So for this one, it does deal with single-use plastic, but there are also some more broad sustainability initiatives in here. The first one is that discount is offered for customers that use reusable. So especially coffee shops, if you're bringing your own mug, there's a discount there. So it's incentivizing reuse. The next one is that no single-use plastic or bioplastic containers are used for takeout. So, restaurants are using paper takeout containers, fiber, um, aluminum, or even reusable containers instead of plastic or bioplastic ones. The next is that energy efficiency efforts are in place. This can include a bunch of different things. It might depend on the size of the restaurant, but having LED lighting, efficient washing, like dishwashers and things, having like timers in the lights in storage rooms or in bathrooms, just showing that efforts are being made to be more energy efficient. And then the next one is that water pollution and conservation mitigation efforts are in place. Again, this might depend on the size of the restaurant. Properly disposing of oil, fat, and grease is a big one. Only offering water upon request, so saving water that way. Or sometimes you see businesses like irrigating sidewalks or like hosing off the sidewalk. So we ask them, not to do that. So different things that would count for this criteria, but just showing that there are efforts to conserve water. The next one is that vegetarian and vegan options are offered regularly. We find that most restaurants do this already. And then the next is prepackaged items are not sold in plastic. So this is like chips or snacks, things like that. We ask that there's no plastic packaging for some of those prepackaged goods. A lot of bakeries follow the criteria well because they, sell their own snacks or their own baked items that they put in like glass containers or something and give to guests on a plate or in a paper bag or something. The next is that composting efforts are in place, and I'm sure Rain will talk about this on the Keep Orlando Beautiful slide, but we have a local company that helps restaurants compost. So we're seeing this more and more, which is really exciting. So that's one of the optional criteria that the food waste is being composted at the restaurant. And then finally, all seafood is best choice or good alternative as defined by Seafood Watch. So just making sure sustainable seafood is served as one of the optional criteria. And so this is our impact right now. Nationally, we have 588 restaurants participating, which we estimate serve over 39 million single-use plastic-free meals every year. And we have about 40, yes, 40 in Florida alone. And so we're always trying to grow our numbers, grow the impact, and grow the capacity within the chapters to lead an ocean-friendly restaurant program. And so I wanted to point to one of our ocean-friendly restaurants in Florida as an example. This case study is really helpful to showcase how restaurants can save money by reducing single-use plastic, but this restaurant also co-wrote an op-ed during the legislative session last year to advocate to stop expanding the preemption. So this restaurant has been really involved, especially with the legislative work that we've been doing. And so Tiny Turtle in Cocoa Beach, they only provide paper straws upon request, and they estimate that they save over $3,000 a year by doing so because they're using less inventory. So we're always trying to come up with more case studies or showcase those really specific examples of saving money. And then how restaurants sign up. So the program is good for 1 year. It's completely free to join. All restaurants need to do is they need to be compliant, of course, and then they sign up at surfrider.org/OFR. We ask that restaurants renew every year just so we have updated info and like contact info and stuff and making sure they're continuously compliant. And our chapters do compliance checks within the year-long membership. And so, yeah, I'll turn it over to Rain if you're on the call to talk a little bit about how ocean-friendly restaurants and Keep Orlando Beautiful have worked together.
On the call. I feel like my camera is freaking out, but can you hear my voice?
It sounds a little robotic for me. I don't know if that was the same for others.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maureen, you still there? She
Oh
disappeared.
no.
Maybe maybe she'll come back.
Can we come back to her, CJ?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I can turn it over a little bit to talk about our brand new ocean friendly. I just saw something in the chat. Is that Rain? Huh. Rain, try speaking again. Hmm. I don't know. I could speak a little bit about, but now I can't go back to my previous slide, so that's fun. Um, there we go. So yeah, I can talk a little bit about how we've worked together. It's been amazing working with Keep Orlando Beautiful. As you can see in these photos, you're all incredible at hosting events. There was a really cool panel that we had with an ocean-friendly restaurant, as well as some other community members that were focused on sustainability and plastic reduction. There's been some really cool collaboration with Orlando specific benefits to joining the program. So I was going to talk about the benefits for joining ocean-friendly restaurants and ocean-friendly hotels later, but we've kind of found some local partnerships that are specific to Orlando, like that composting service I was talking about. So if a restaurant joins the Ocean Friendly Restaurants program, they get exclusive discounts to O Town Compost. So having these specific like branded materials that collaborate with the Ocean Friendly Restaurant Program has been really great. And the Keep Orlando Beautiful team has helped in recruiting ocean friendly restaurants because, you know, the program really is as strong as our chapters, and Orlando chapter is a bit smaller. So having that extra capacity, that extra manpower has been really cool. And so by working together, we've added 5 ocean friendly restaurants in the Orlando area. And we also spoke at the Florida Hospitality and Food Service conference that was in Orlando as well. We gave a presentation about the program and about Keep Orlando Beautiful and Surfrider. So it's just been a really great collaboration. And if I missed anything, Rain, just drop it in the chat, or hopefully you can get off mute soon. But we really appreciate it and
Mhm.
hoping that we can work with other affiliates too to grow the program and reach whatever goals the affiliate has. So yeah, I'll go over to the Ocean Friendly Hotels program. So like I mentioned before, this is a brand new program that we just launched in September of last year. And so it's very similar in how it functions to ocean-friendly restaurants. So it celebrates and recognizes hotels that have eliminated single-use plastic. The big difference there, of course, is the criteria because hotels and restaurants function very differently. And so like the restaurant program, hotels must follow 7 mandatory criteria and then choose 3 out of an optional list of 9 criteria. So for the mandatory side, no plastic bottles or bags are used on site. So especially like gift shops or takeout or whatever, no plastic bags are being used, and then no plastic bottles in the rooms or anywhere in like fridges, coolers, or any food service areas. We do allow trash bags. This has come up like we're really more focused on like customer facing plastic bags, especially in like retail spaces and things. And then the second is that there's no styrofoam used anywhere. The third is that foodware and accessory items in rooms are reusable or made from naturally occurring materials and are not packaged in plastic. So I know sometimes when I go to hotels, like you have this packaging where there's like a spoon and sugar and stuff and fork and straw for a coffee station or whatever. So we ask that, if there are cups that they're not in plastic and they're reusable, or if there are any of those accessory items that they're made from naturally occurring materials and aren't bundled together. And then number 4 is that there's no mini toiletry bottles. There's been a lot of legislation happening, like California, Washington, New York. Hawaii is working on one too, where hotels are not allowed to use the mini toiletry bottles. So that's a big one. Instead, we would prefer them to use bulk or reusables or like soap or something like that. And then number five, water refill stations are available on site. This doesn't have to be a huge like industrial refill station, even if it's just like a little glass container in the lobby. Sometimes you see that with fruit in it, or something, but just somewhere at the hotel that's encouraging folks to refill water bottles or refill their own cups is really important. And then the next one is that restaurants on site, if there are any, are ocean-friendly restaurants, of course. And then finally, the proper recycling practices are followed, which is similar to the restaurant program. And then moving on to the optional criteria, choosing three out of this list. The first is that coffee tea stations do not use single-use pods. So like a Keurig or something, like instead they would use, I've seen some have like a French press with ground coffee, and then they have an electric kettle, or they might have a real coffee pot, like that is a drip coffee maker. Or we've seen some of our ocean-friendly hotels deliver coffee to the rooms upon request, or only have coffee in the lobby where you can go get it. So there's a lot of different options there. The second is that pre-packaged items are not packaged in plastic, similarly to the restaurant criteria, the snack bar, whatever, especially in mini bars, not having any pre-packaged items that are plastic wrapped. The third here is that room keys are reusable or made from natural materials. I've seen a lot use like wooden keys, or we have an ocean-friendly hotel that actually uses like a real key that you have, at your house or something. And then similarly to the restaurant program, we have the energy efficiency and water conservation efforts are in place. This can vary a lot in hotels, especially based on the size. But I would say for energy efficiency, having those timed lights or encouraging people to turn their lights off before they leave the room. And then water conservation, only washing linens and things if guests request it. And so we do have ocean-friendly hotel branded materials, like marketing materials that they can put in the bathroom or, in the room that says, hey, if you want to wash your towels, like put them here. If you want to save water or not use them, put them here, kind of thing. So that's been some really common things people have done to fit that criteria. Six is that solo trash cleanup kits are available for guests. This was inspired by our Kauai chapter. And so we can work with hotels if they want to encourage guests to do their own cleanup, on the beach or in the city that the hotel is in. So having a connection to Surfrider's cleanup programs is a really fun one. For seven, on-site gift shops sell reef-friendly sunscreen. We have a ton of resources on that and what that means. Eight is outdoor light pollution is minimized. So I know in Florida, we're pretty familiar with that, having shielded lights, having certain color lights and things, just making sure that we're not, having a lot of light pollution and harming wildlife that need not a lot of light at night for migration and laying eggs and things like that. And then finally, we also have an ocean-friendly garden program, which I do not manage. That's a different like department at Surfrider, but it deals with climate-friendly landscaping, native landscaping, things like that. So I know I'm throwing a ton of information at everyone, but so this is our impact so far. We have 20 hotels participating and counting. We're really trying to grow this program, and we estimate that collectively, our hotels save over 600,000 plastic water bottles and 900,000 mini toiletry bottles from hotels every year. And we do have an ocean-friendly hotel. It's our only one and first one in Florida. It's in Flagler Beach called Island Cottage Inn. And these are some examples of the ocean-friendly practices they're following. So they have refillable toiletries, an ocean-friendly breakfast station, and complimentary bikes, which would count, as the energy efficiency criteria because it's encouraging folks to ride bikes places instead of driving. And then hotels can sign up at surfrider.org/OFH. It's a year-long program. This program is not free to join. There is a small fee, which is based on how many rooms the hotel has. And then finally, these are some of the benefits for joining the ocean-friendly restaurants and hotels programs. Like I mentioned, for the hotel one, we have exclusive marketing collateral that they can put in their rooms that say they're an ocean-friendly hotel, but also kind of get guests involved with being more sustainable and reducing plastic and things. So the marketing collateral is a big one. We also send our ocean-friendly restaurants a free window decal in the mail after they join. So that's a huge perk because they can, showcase that they're an ocean-friendly hotel that way. The programs are also just a great way to recognize businesses for the sustainability practices they've done. We've heard from a lot of businesses that it helps to legitimize what they're doing because there's so many labels out there. There's so many um, things that businesses can do, but it's a great way to say, we're on the right track. These are some of the things we're doing. The businesses are also featured on our national and chapter website. So, on the websites I listed earlier, we have a map and different spotlights and things where we showcase the businesses. So, it's a great way to just get more eyes on the business. There's also opportunity for launch parties and press with the nearest Surfrider chapter. Keep Orlando Beautiful, like I mentioned, is really great at this. And so the Orlando chapter of Surfrider and Keep Orlando Beautiful have um, worked together on some launch parties to celebrate new businesses that have joined the program, which always gets people really excited, especially if you can get like a free food item or a buy one get one at a tea shop or something. So it's been really great as well as press. Some of the businesses have gotten really great press from joining. And then finally, we have national vendor discounts with some sustainable products. I'm always trying to get more and more discounts because I think that's a great incentive for joining, but it also helps to offset some of those costs of buying non-plastic materials. And so I'll just leave with this that the larger we grow our network of ocean-friendly business leaders, the more mainstream the concept of single-use plastic-free becomes. So our goal is to eventually expand to more and more industries, but just continue to get more businesses involved, get them involved in policy and more involved in showcasing, how businesses can be successful by reducing single-use plastic. So that's it for me. I know I gave a lot of info and I saw the chat going, so I look forward to answer any questions. And of course, if you have questions for Evan or Katie too, feel free to ask and you can email me at any time. But I really appreciate the time today.
So I'm thrilled to hear that the first ocean-friendly hotel is in Flagler Beach because we're actually in the process of onboarding a affiliate in Flagler Beach. So I'm really thrilled to hear that, and I definitely Daryl and I see Vic and Jane are on. And they're with Key Flagler Beach also. I'm definitely going to tell Daryl. I think that is something he should 100% know and try to work with them on something, whether that's a cleanup or whatnot. But I think that's really awesome to hear. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. The owner is super awesome, and so I can always make connections if you're wanting to do like an event or something. There is a smaller hotel, and I think it's like an adults only retreat or
Mhm.
something. So like if you're
Cute.
thinking of like a conference or something that but I think it would be great to collaborate and like do something there for sure.
That's great. Well, yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I have a question for you guys. So when you're doing new restaurants, new hotels, are you as like the chapters reaching out to hotels and restaurants that you think are kind of already like aligning with this, or are you waiting for them to come to you, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I can start and then if Evan or Katie have anything to add. So we really want our chapters on the ground to be the ones going out in their community and recruiting businesses. And so a lot of times I tell them when they're growing their programs to create a list of restaurants they think would be a good fit, like low-hanging fruit, I guess, as you would say. And so sometimes I find like vegetarian or vegan restaurants or seafood restaurants or like oceanfront restaurants or something, like trying to find like a common string of a business you think would be a good fit. And then I tell them to use Google reviews to look at photos because people post their food and you can see very easily, if they're using a lot of plastic or not. And so when building out the program, it's good to kind of go for businesses that are pretty much already there. And then once you have that community, it's easier to get businesses to switch. But I found in Florida, a lot of times the restaurants do at least have to switch their straws. So it's powerful to hear of chapters like working really close with business owners to get them to switch. And then some of my role is going to conferences. Like I'm going to the National Restaurant Association show, which is more like me doing outreach to larger chains or entities. So I think it's both. Like we want the local, but then I kind of help with like getting more corporate or like larger restaurants involved or hotels. Evan?
Absolutely. And it does definitely seem like there is a shift with the larger chain hotels, especially because I was actually just in Coral Gables. Our conference this year is in Coral Gables in November. And one of the things that we look for is we try to look for like more sustainable hotels and almost all the hotels that we checked out, they all have like the big bottles of like shampoo, the wash, all that stuff. Like everyone is getting away from those single bottles. And honestly, I'm sure it saves them a ton of money. So it's like it's kind of a no-brainer. They can be like, "Oh, it's more environmentally friendly," but on their end, they're just saving, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. We just had a ocean-friendly hotel in Alaska tell us like we were a little apprehensive to get rid of the mini bottles because it seems more like high end, like people loved the mini bottles, but when we made the switch, it was so much easier, especially being in Alaska, of like only ordering bulk to
Hmm.
refill, and it was much cheaper than dealing with the mini bottles. And so I'm trying to get more data on that to create case studies to
That's
showcase.
great. And it seems like, as a consumer, like people are fine with it. Like no, I have never talked to someone who is like, I miss the mini bottles. So
Yeah.
trying to look at the questions. So, Tammy with Keep Wakulla County Beautiful asked about the fade straws, and I just answered. And if you'd like to go into it more, because that's a question I had for you, like when we originally spoke. But as far as I understand, they don't qualify because they're considered a bioplastic. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I did have some slides about bioplastic because I kind of anticipated that question, but yeah, at this time we don't allow bioplastic just because most of the time those products require an industrial compost facility to break down. And because
Hmm.
we don't have one in Florida and like most places, and it kind of puts the onus on the consumer, and it's also hard to track, like especially if you're ordering a coffee at a restaurant, even if the restaurant is sending the straw to an industrial compost facility, that customer is going to go home and then the straw might end up in the ocean where it acts just like regular plastic, or it might go, to a landfill or go to a recycling center or something and then contaminate it. So, yeah, at this time we don't allow bioplastic products, and we have a ton of resources on this at Surfrider. We have a bioplastic toolkit. We have a one pager for restaurants to kind of break it down for them. We have an ocean-friendly foodware guide where we created a decision matrix that customers and restaurants can use of like questions to ask yourself when looking at a product, if this is bioplastic or not, or if it's greenwashing. So that's kind of our stance right now. Of course, I'm always doing research and trying to find good products or, the next product, and everything's evolving. But yeah, right now, fade and other bioplastic items are not allowed.
I was just about to ask you if the agave straws count, but I just read that they're made from recycled plastics and plant fiber, so I'm assuming they don't.
Yeah, I have not found an agave straw that is 100% agave fiber. Usually it's
That's why they're so good. That's why the straws are nice, because they're not they're
essentially,
still plastic.
yeah,
Just
so they
laughing at me, but
always,
it's true. It's so true.
yeah, exactly. And it's so confusing because it looks more natural, like it's
It
usually
does.
one color. But a lot of times those might have a percentage of agave, but then the rest
It's plastic.
are could be petroleum based or a bio-based
Yeah.
product. And so the biodegradability, compostability varies, but a lot of times they do need an industrial facility to break down properly, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. But I like and I want to point out the fact that you guys definitely have options available to the restaurants and to the hotels of like, hey, like I know you're using plastic straws, but here are some great resources. Like you're not just like leaving them in the wind to figure it out on them by themselves. So I want to point that out, and I think that's really wonderful. So, does anyone have any questions for our panel?
I did see a question in the chat from Lynn who said, has anyone tried doing ocean-friendly small businesses, like small stores focused on tourism? So yeah, I mean, we're always exploring what industry we want to do next. I think because we want to keep it like mandatory optional criteria. It's really about creating a criteria. And with stores, there's probably so much variability. There has been a lot of interest in like refill stores, kind of getting them
Mm,
involved somehow. Would love to do like venues, concert venues and things like that. So, and there's always opportunity for our chapters to pilot things. Like Evan in the Florida Keys chapter have been working with charters, or the Kauai chapter has ocean-friendly visitors. So we're really open as long as there's capacity and it like makes sense to do so.
that's great. Um,
Seems like a lot of people just want to get involved. I feel like Evan is your guy. Like if you wanna work with a Surfrider chapter, Evan is the one working with all the chapters, and then I'm more ocean friendly and Katie is more policy. So I mean you could reach out to any of us and we would connect you to the right person, but
And Evan just dropped his email in the chat, so it's at the very bottom. So if you want to take that down, you definitely can. Um, Vic and Jane are asking, how do you find a list of ocean-friendly restaurants?
yeah, I'll drop the link in the chat, which is just
Great.
our main website. And I'll also put the foodware guide in there, which talks about some of the bioplastic stuff as well as the options that we recommend. And we want to update this on a 2-year cadence. So
I feel like I may have asked you this, and forgive me, but do you guys work with Brooke Hansen? I know that she's really into sustainable tourism. She's actually on our board, Keep Florida Beautiful's board. And I was just trying to look up her, like she has some kind of like hotel friendly, I don't know, environment friendly hotel program, I think as well. But is it different than yours or is it the same? And I'm just like misstepping.
so I have been in touch with Brooke. She's amazing. The Suncoast chapter, or maybe I think it was just Evan, it was Carolyn and I, we went to an event that Brooke was hosting in St. Pete on hospitality and stuff. So we kind of tabled, but I would love to get more involved and maybe do like an ocean-friendly hotel specific presentation. And she does know about it, that it just launched. So I don't know what communications that was. And I wasn't aware that she had her own program, but I do know Florida Green Lodging is
And
program.
maybe that's what it is. And I actually sent her an email a couple days ago. And so I'm waiting for her to get back to me. But yeah, I know that there's some kind of program that she is trying to get hotels to sign up for. I don't know what it is. Um, and like she's like working with them. And it could be that she's just encouraging them, but I'm pretty sure it's like a stamp, some kind of stamp of approval, so yeah, I once I find out, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that
So,
sounds great. I would love
yeah.
to collaborate. A lot of times, if there's other programs or certifications, we like to work together in the sense that depending on the different criteria, like, well, that program could be a stepping stone to ocean friendly or like vice versa. Usually ocean friendly, I would say on the plastic piece is kind of in the like there's more plastic items that they have to get rid of where some are like just straws or whatever. And so I would love to work with other programs as kind of like feeder programs or just we can talk about both of them at the same time.
Absolutely. I
So
think that's great. Because I do think looking at your lists and stuff, I'm sure there's many more restaurants and hotels that either meet the criteria or are very close. And, just like getting the word out is like really gonna bump up that number. So I think that's
Yeah.
great. Does anyone else have any questions? Feel free to, Eric. No? Anyone have any more questions?
Hey, Sherry.
Hey, Kenneth.
Concerning the regional events, who did you have down for our city? Just so I can
Oh,
verify.
yeah, sure. Hold on one second. I have to switch screens. Uh, yeah, a young woman called me. Um,
Cynthia?
Cynthia and Lazaro, I have down.
Okay. Okay, so both of them are coming?
Yes.
Okay, I knew Laz was, but I didn't know that Cynthia was. Okay, that sounds
Yes.
good. Yeah, I'll be attending well as well.
Okay, see you there.
Thank you so much.
Um,
Hey,
well, if
Sherry,
yes, Lynn,
this
go
this
ahead.
it's Lynn. If we don't have a group in our county or nearby, it looks how do we work with you guys?
So you're gonna reach out to Evan.
Okay.
Um, his email, he dropped it.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got
Okay,
it.
great.
I just didn't know if we're too far away or if how something like that would work.
Lynn,
She's
where
in
you
Franklin County.
at? Okay. Sometimes our chapters, while they're located in a certain region, like we have our Emerald Coast, they cover a big
Okay.
swath. So whether it's, helping advertise for an event, getting people out, really, a lot of our power besides just our leadership in the chapter is just the grassroots network we have as well, like you all
Okay.
are with. So we can join in activations.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Kenneth.
Yeah, so I emailed Evan, but I guess we're going to be having an Earth Day celebration on the 19th of April, and there's always, giveaways that we can do. Does anybody have any recommendations and maybe some out of the box ideas that I could use some of my budget for? Obviously, I'm going to be giving away plants, wildflowers. I'm actually growing quite a few to be prepared for it, as well as having a lot of environmental organizations join. But in anybody's experience, what are some giveaways that people really like?
Seeds, if you don't want to do like a ton of flowers, a lot of people love like the wildflower seeds. You just got to make sure it's good for your area.
Oh, I'm ahead of you there. I've purchased probably $400 worth of seeds, 32 different species that are native to our area here.
That's great, Kenneth. Anyone else have any recommendations? I think you're on track, especially for Earth Day. People want plants, so I think that's perfect. If you guys don't have a Rain put in the bamboo sets the utensil kits. Those are always a really good takeaway. um, for your purpose, to get more information out about North Miami, I think it's good to do like some kind of swag with your logo on it, whether that's a nice sticker or something else small. I think that's always a good thing to also give out. Kids love stickers, and so do adults. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has 1,000 stickers plastered on 100 reusable bottles in my kitchen. So
We have a unique situation occurring this year where there was a Easter egg hunt on for the same day, and most people could see that as, oh no, but I see it as an opportunity to pool resources, and then you have so many young minds eager to learn about the environment. I'm like, let's do it together, make it happen. So I'm pretty excited about it. I think they had over 800 people last year, so I'm making sure that each household will take home a tree and some wildflowers and all kinds of other good stuff.
that's wonderful. You could always reach out, and I'm trying to think who does it, but like a couple of different wildlife organizations, they do like butterfly and bee info like trifolds, basically like these are the native butterflies, and that's a good way to get kids involved as well. So
Yeah, appreciate the ideas, everyone, including the reusable straws and bamboo.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
like the butterfly thing. I might have to purchase one of those on Amazon immediately.
Yeah, I have a bunch of them. Books and trifolds and binoculars. Anyone else have any questions today? No? All right. So we're wrapping up really nicely, 155. Um, because I have some of you on here, I'm gonna hit you guys up with individual. Jason Clark, are you here, Jason? Can you hear
I
me?
am sorry.
I know you signed up. Thank you for signing up for the regional meeting. Hillary, are you coming to your regional meeting?
No, I won't be able to. I'll be out of town.
Boo. Okay, I understand
No.
completely. Hopefully I'll see you um at the conference this year. Were you able to send me your logo?
Yep, I sent that a couple hours ago over.
Thank you. I've been out, so I haven't actually checked. So, Tammy, are you going to go to your regional meeting?
I am not able to go that far. I think I had mentioned to you that we'd love for you to come to one of our meetings
Yes.
in
Oh,
McCullough um, since you're pretty close.
I am. You just let me know when and what time, and I'll be there for sure. So,
Great.
good, good. Rain, are you in Madison? Did you guys are you going to Winter Haven? Oh yeah, she's not, her thing isn't working. You're going to be at a climate conference. Perfect. Okay. Anyways, I just wanted to thank you guys so much. Thank you so much, Surfrider, for being here. You guys were great. We will definitely be in contact, and I think you have lifelong fans of your program for sure. We'll definitely push some of our local restaurants and hotels towards you guys. So thank you again for everything. We hope you have a wonderful week.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank
Have
you.
a
Thanks
great
for having
day.
us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.